Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Thunder, and this is Two Dads React. And this is our two lame dads uh, that happen to be been friends since fifth grade. And so we have quite a show for you today. Madonna mocks The Last Supper. Yep, we're back to this again. Just when you thought that, I don't know, the sacrilegious thing was not in anymore, it wasn't, the hip thing to do, then here we go. We're going to do it again. So anyhow, Madonna mocks The Last Supper, and of course, just again, so you remember the way that this show works. I've got a number of videos that I'm going to show, and God Rules has a number of videos that he's going to show, and some of which are not necessarily on the main topic, but the main topic, the main event is Madonna mocks The Last Supper. So, if I can find my mouse, where did it go? Okay, it's here somewhere. Okay, there it is. I just found it. So, it is that time. Let's go. Warning: some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, what's happening?
Not much, man. I'm just trying to open windows here. Too many things to open. But, yeah, I'm doing okay. I've been really busy. How about you?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. It's been
Still
been
alive.
a buzzsaw, so all kinds of stuff going on, everything at the same time. Been looking forward to getting together on another show with you. So here we are, and all that good stuff. What's the weather like where you're at?
Snow on the ground. It's really cold, really cold,
Yeah, it's
pretty
cold
much.
here. That it's like the over the last couple days, some really cold stuff blew in.
Oh yeah, it's been very cold the last couple of days here too, for sure. I'm guessing that's like must be like that in a lot of places right now.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
here, let's go ahead and jump into it. Um, folks, are the main attraction tonight will be this mocking of the Last Supper, mocking of Jesus, mocking of Christianity. That Madonna has done it again. This is not really a new thing for her. She's been sort of pretty irreverent for a long time.
Irrelevant too. But yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good. That's good. I like
no
it.
worries here.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so here let's jump over here. I got a couple things, and we'll go back and forth with some videos and keep it moving.
All right.
Video breakdown. All right, so much has been said about this high value business and the high value uh, conversation, high value with respect to men was sort of brought to the forefront by Kevin Samuels. But it wasn't something that he invented. It's something that he basically surveyed in human history. He surveyed across cultures, and he was able to basically figure out a few qualities that these sort of masters of the universe status men over time, the kind of qualities that they had. And he sort of boiled it down to a particular list. There were 6 things on his list. Of course, people only focus on the money part, right? How much money the person's making, but they don't ever talk about the other things. And that's folks that are pro Kevin Samuels and people that are naysayers or people that are anti Kevin Samuels. They would tend to focus on the money thing because then they would just say, "Oh, you just saying that the guy has to have money, so he can be a jerk. He can be X, Y, and Z. He can be, you know, a, you know, I don't know, whatever, you know." So they just want to have something to say. But what also was part of the conversation is what it is to be a high value woman, which the qualities for a high value man and a high value woman are not the same because men and women are different. And a person that is a high value man is not going to want someone to compete against, but is going to want somebody that complements. So, anyhow, that as the setup, let's take a listen to what she has to say.
Women tend to think that because they have gone to school, they're educated, I'm educated, gone to school, you make money. You think that because I bring something to the table financially, that makes me a high value woman. And we have to stop thinking about it the way we think about it. We thinking about it the way that we evaluate men. Oh, if men are bringing something to the table, they're a high value man. Okay, men don't think the way that we think. And I think that that's what makes it delusional. What we think is high value is not what men think is high value, right? We may think that Oprah is high value, but a man may not see Oprah as being a high value woman. We cannot define terms for men and get mad at men because men have different value systems than us. They look at things differently than us, you know? So again, I think that that's what makes it delusional because we're not men. Just like men can't tell us what's attractive, we can't tell men what's attractive, period.
So what do you think?
Oh, definitely. I think it's a completely different ball game. I mean, yeah, what makes a man high value or what makes a woman high value is completely different. And I guess it depends on the opposite sex, what they think, you know? So whatever a man thinks is a high value woman, well, generally speaking, I mean, we're talking man with woman type of situation here, but you know what I mean?
Right.
What used to be considered, as you would say, normal, but yeah, so whatever a man thinks is high value for a woman. And of course, you know, you have to ask yourself if these men in society, if there's parts of society that are not high value themselves and what they're looking for in a woman may not be really high value in the first place. So there's a lot of factors going into this whole equation. But I don't know. I think it's completely different what a man looks for in a woman or a woman looks for in a man. So that's just kind of my thoughts.
And you know, and this point I was making about just not competing. Like I don't want to compete against my wife. We don't need to be doing the same things. And one thing I also notice is that, and this is all, you know, thanks to the girl power movement, which has largely created most of the sort of strife and enmity in relationships these days, is because you've told women that what they need to do is they need to become the man that they want, basically. So you go out, you earn all this money, you're battling dragons, you're deadlifting, 600 pounds, you're doing all the stuff that men do. And so then now it's like, okay, and then of course a man is going to be like, well, what do you need me for? And the answer is you don't need me. And of course that's not going to be that, men tend to want to give and take care of. And if you don't need somebody to give and to take care of, that seems to be problematic. We looked at a video the last time. It was another TikTok thing, and remember this. It was like three women, and the one woman was saying, women get themselves in trouble, X, Y, and Z, by having ridiculous standards and like this, and then she even tried to say, and I'm talking about, I'm saying that the guy is, X, Y, and Z. She basically described Jesus. And the other woman, remember, she said something to the effect of, basically that ain't good enough. This whole thing. You probably remember the clip. And it got me thinking, this clip that I'm about to put up here, this is, I think, I'm pretty, I'm 99% that this is not one of the same women from that panel, but 99% this is from a trending series of videos. There's about 3 or 4 TikTok videos that she put out where she's describing her divorce. And she describes how she had an affair on her husband, and she thought that she was entitled to have that affair because, they weren't getting along or whatever like this. And it was okay. So now this woman's divorced. She blew her marriage up. And now let's listen to what she has to say.
It's not you, brother. It's my requirements. I require dates. I require flowers. I require morning texts. I require someone I can rely on. I require truth. I require stability. I require a backbone. I require strength. I require someone that's spiritually inclined. I require growth. I require originality. I require a leader. It's not you. By no means is it you. It's my requirements.
What is that supposed to mean?
Exactly. So
What the hell does that mean, dude? I don't. It's your requirements. Okay, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about your requirements.
yeah.
That's kind of my reaction to it. Like, whatever, dude.
Yeah,
Okay, go
yeah. So
find
so so here's the thing. So it's from the perspective of, you know, it's not you, it's me. It's like a play on that. But the
Is
way
she
that
trying to take responsibility but not take responsibility? Is that what she's doing? I don't understand what the hell she's doing.
no, she's not taking any responsibility. No,
She's pretending like she's taking responsibility or something, or I don't understand.
No. What this is, what this is again, it is because some of the stuff that she says is, you know, reasonable stuff. Just like,
But dude, she like cheated on her previous husband. What?
Right.
Who cares about her requirements, dude? Like, we have a requirement: stop cheating. Stop cheating. Okay, just be home. Okay, like, you know, maybe cook a meal or something. Like, I'm just joking, man. But yeah,
yeah, you know, it is. It's kind of like, you know, when you screw something up, you don't get to come back and then with like even more ridiculous standards. You screwed the stuff up. But anyhow,
she has some requirements for herself. Maybe she write down a couple of requirements for herself. You know, I don't know. That might help her.
Like don't cheat.
Don't cheat. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
All right, let me do one more, and then
right.
I'm sure you got some stuff to show us. I think this is not this one, not that one. We'll do that one later. It is it this one? No, that's the same one. Not that one. Wait a minute here. I think it's, this is one. All right. I already put the warning up. If folks can't handle
this looks really funny. I have a funny quote to say that goes with this, but go ahead.
I can't look. I'm not.
You can't say it or what?
Look, I'm not going to.
Can you say the word? It's okay, right?
No.
Okay.
Yag. We can say it backwards. Yag.
Okay, I'm not. There's a funny quote. My brother used to have the stickers. He would get these stickers that are really ridiculous, and put on the back of your friend's car. I'm not Yag. It's just the thing downstairs that's Yag.
Oh,
I can't. It sounds really funny when you say it the right way, but you know, it's, you know, back then you could make jokes like that. You can't make jokes anymore about this stuff. You know, it was hilarious. You know. Put on your friend's car and then he's driving around all embarrassed, you know, because you put that on his car. A coworker, maybe. Go ahead.
Here, let's so let's take a listen to this. And this is
Luke's got a good point there.
Here.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women. I said women. I'm not gay.
You speaking in tongues there now? What's going on there, dude?
It was kind of some mumble tongues though.
Yeah, it wasn't real ones. Those weren't legit. Those were totally not legit. And I'm not making fun of it because you can actually do that. It's legit. You can do stuff like that, but I think those weren't the real deal though.
So anyhow, now, so this is a So one of my it's a regular topic. Okay, so there's all this conversation, and it's usually derogatory about these, gay camps. You go to the gay camp because they're trying to convert you from being gay. This
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
right.
thing, and
Yeah,
that's
that whole thing.
yeah. And now, of course, they never they never highlight the people that claim that that was actually effective for them. So usually what is it is categorically seen as something that is ineffective, that does not work, and it's a bunch of naysayers against it, X, Y, and Z. I'm not here to say if it's effective or not.
I think it's
That
like,
isn't the point.
it's one of those things where it works for some and not for others, and I think honestly, some people maybe just aren't supposed to get married, to the opposite, of course. Maybe they're just supposed to be single, whatever, you know what I mean? Some just are not made for that. And I mean, it says that right in the good book itself, eunuchs, so maybe he's a eunuch or something. But yeah, you shouldn't force people to want to get married or something. That's just ridiculous.
All right, let's see. I got one last. Let me do one more because it's along the same lines. Since that took place in church,
Right.
I've got another. I got one more that took place in church, and I think it'll give us something that
Oh, is this
we can talk
Hagen?
about a little. It is.
Oh, God, Hagen's terrible. Okay,
Okay.
go ahead, man.
Here we go.
Oh my goodness, dude. Hey, it's good to laugh. Nothing wrong with laughing. You want to laugh? Go ahead and laugh, man. Oh my goodness. What's this guy doing holding on to him, man?
You thought you was done. Oh. Glory. We're having fun.
That's like 20 years old, probably. I'm guessing. What do you think?
It's probably older than that.
Yeah, that guy. I remember reading his books, and I was like, "This guy's off. It's just something ain't right about this guy." Back when I was in college, I remember reading his books, a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's all
So
about believing into things, and he doesn't. It's not like if the good book says something, it's true whether you believe it or not. And he's
right,
like, well, if you believe it, it's true. And I'm like, no, it's actually true even if you don't believe it. You know what I mean?
right.
That's kind of his thing. I don't like about what he taught. But go ahead.
Yeah, I played these two sort of Christian clips or whatever, or pseudo Christian aspects of Christendom heresy, really. Um, and there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense that happens in Christendom, in things that are called churches. Now, I would argue that just because something calls itself a church doesn't mean that it's a church. I believe that there's actually a very narrow definition of what a church is, and that term has been what's the word? It has been what is the word that they use? Appropriated. There we go. The term has been appropriated by folks that ain't really Christians. At least they don't believe the basic, the basic
Well, it's getting weird.
Christian
It's
stuff.
getting weird for sure. I
Super
mean, it's getting
weird.
worse. I mean, in some respects, yeah, it's getting worse than it used to be. Even, I mean, it was already kind of messed up back then, but it's even getting worse now. But my whole thing is like, I couldn't even understand why that guy was holding on to him. That just looked kind of weird in and of itself. The guy behind him, like the entire time he has got his arms around him. Like, what is that? You saw the guy holding on to him, right? I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. So Kenneth
That's
Hagin
just
would do
weird.
this thing where he would just go into laughing,
And fall over or
and there's a
something? Or
number of these sort of charismatic communities that they,
right, you and I used to go to
that's like
one
the
when we were kids.
yep.
You and I used to go to one, and when we were in high school. I believe in the gifts, but I mean, some of these guys are just like playing games, and they're I don't believe Hagen. I think it's just kind of an act or
But,
something. I don't know what he's doing there.
but the whole decently things being done decently in an order, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
that's
sorry,
the
what's
problem.
the order
Yeah.
with walking around having somebody hold you up, while you're laughing like a freaking idiot, and hitting other people, and then they supposedly are starting to laugh too, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry, that seems demonic to me. That
No,
does not
there's even worse
seem
than that. There's way worse. There's a guy who used to be like a biker dude, and he became a preacher, and he literally kicked a dude in the face. He boot kicked the dude in the face. Yeah, get slain.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's there's
that's
like that was like the pinnacle of it. Like, really, you kicked him in the face? Really? I don't think that's really legit.
hey, thank you, kosher clinician, thank you for that $5 super chat saying spirit of the Antichrist 100%.
And actually, that's what we're going to
100%.
get into now is Madonna and what's going on with her.
Yes. So
That
let's go
that's
ahead
definitely
and
in that realm.
switch on over to your screen.
All
Let's
right,
see
let's
here
do
if I
that.
can find it. Everybody, please like, share, comment, subscribe, become a channel member where you'll get access to all archive videos,
Yeah,
support
and she's
independent
not
media.
young.
Yep.
I mean, I
And
had a picture on
yeah.
Twitter where she's got so much plastic surgery. The only thing she forgot was her hand. Her hand looks like like Skeletor's hand or something. A little bit of too much plastic surgery. She's trying to pretend like she's still young. I think she's 65 or something now, and
Yeah.
she's posing as Mary there. And then of course the supper here. And actually, I think there's some pictures, like you said, that are pretty. You can't show. I don't think he shows them on this video. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. Oh, he gets kind of close though, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some pictures where they're like not exactly with, of course, clothes as well during the supper. And I remember, like, I don't know, it was like 10, 15, no, it's probably more than that, probably 20 years ago. Madonna was on Oprah, and Oprah was trying to get her to come to Jesus, I guess you would say, that. And
Right.
she refused, and she was like really adamantly against. And that was, I guess, when she was going through something in her life, depression or whatever she was going through. I don't know. And she was into Kabbalah
Oh yeah.
instead,
The Kabbalah. Yeah, or whatever.
which is like a sort of new age-ish type of, it's Gnostic. It actually has a lot of Gnostic stuff in it, and I've covered Gnosticism back in the old days on my channel, um, which is basically an inversion. It inverts the Old Testament. It basically makes, okay, what they believe is essentially the uh, the snake in the Garden of Eden is Jesus in the New Testament. This is they convert things. They invert. He was really trying to help you. He's trying to give you some knowledge, trying to help you out. Eat the fruit. Look, he's trying to help you out here, get you away from that bully in the sky. And that's kind of, I know Kabbalah is based on that, not based off Gnosticism, which teaches that. I don't know if Kabbalah teaches exactly what I'm saying, but I know it's in that realm. So she's into some weird stuff in that respect. I don't know if she's still into Kabbalah though. I know she was back then. I don't know what she's into now. But what's really interesting about Madonna, by the way, is there was someone. Yeah, actually, I was just talking to her, Natalie Denise. She has a channel here on YouTube. Let me show that. Where is that at? I got some other stuff to show you later too. But Natalie, I was just talking to her. I sent her a text earlier. She had something really interesting. I think she's the one that had something on Madonna. Was it her? I think it might have been her. Yeah, here we go. Right here, this video here about Madonna. That she has some sort of country where she's gotten some of these kids that she adopted that are against her, the countries against her, and they cite something she put out in the 90s where she talked about doing, of course, things with those that were under, age. I'm speaking a certain way for you, for your channel here. And she wrote it in some book or something. And so they were citing that, and they were saying that they didn't like, and there's also some interviews of people from these countries where she adopted these kids, the relatives of some of these kids saying, look, she was supposed to bring them back when they were 7. I don't know anything about limited time adoption or anything like that. I don't know if that stuff even exists or what, but supposedly she signed something saying she'd bring them back when they're at a certain age. I don't know if it's true or not, but so there's some of that going on, and some are saying that she's using, these, of course, her kids or whatever. And I don't know if it's the case, but yeah, one of them is like, talking about him not being, he's transition, what I'm saying. He's doing that stuff, right? So I don't know all about that. I'm kind of wondering what you think about that, though. She, like I said, she did a video about this, and I think I was watching this one where she was talking about it, because I think some other content creator took her content and didn't give her credit or something. I think that's probably where I saw it. But
one thing I guess I'm not really surprised by it, because I see matter of fact, I just did a stream earlier today where I detail how feminism is a proxy of white supremacy. Right? If you listen to the kinds of stuff that the early feminists were saying, in particular about black men, that whole super predator talk that Hillary Clinton and
yeah, I was thinking
Pro
Democrat
Joe,
when you started saying that. I was thinking Democrats back in like the 80s and 90s saying stuff like that.
Right, but that's a talking point that's revived from early feminism.
But could that be
Early
also? I was
feminism.
wondering if that's from the Planned, of course, Parenthood, where the lady, what's her name, Singer or whatever, wasn't she
Right,
kind of
Margaret
like
Sanger,
that
yeah.
too? A little, yeah, wasn't she a little
Oh
bit like
no,
that?
absolutely, she was a feminist. That's right. All of that stuff, it's in
That's
league.
interesting. I didn't think about that.
And the initial, of course, feminists rejected black women. They didn't want black women in their group.
I think it's kind of funny you mentioned this, because Hillary was known to be, and also Joe, of course, our current prez, was known to be very much like a supreme, a white, supreme, as you say it. And But they're pretending like they're not. They're pretending like they're not, and that like everybody else is. All those that like their Bible and all that stuff, they're the ones,
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious.
But I was gonna say is
It's like completely deceptive. That's how they're doing it.
Maybe I'm not totally surprised by this, but even these intersectional feminists, which a lot of them tend to be, a lot of the feminists now tend to be. There's a lot of black feminists, but it's like they don't recognize that they're actually working against their own interests, because the purpose of the movement is being lived out in its explicit oppression of melanated men. So what it does is it stacks the deck in a particular way, and is using a lot of these women's issues as a way to create that dynamic. But I'm saying that to say that notice that there are no people of color. It doesn't seem like that she has any women of color
hilarious. Here. You see that in Hollywood too. It's so funny. They always talk about like how they want to, make sure everything's equal and stuff, but then they don't have really. It's hilarious, man. But then when they do it, it's like completely this garbage woke stuff. It's just kind of funny looking at Hollywood and how they are. What was I thinking? I was going to say something. I already forgot what it was, but you get kind of this from the Hollywood. Oh yeah, that's right. There was a article I saw. It was from I did it on one of my recent videos. It's the largest one of recent. It's like 350,000 views. There's an African American actress. I don't remember her name, but she said that it was more. Can I say the ist word? The Ray, can I say that word or what? Or you okay?
Wait a minute. What is the word? What is the word?
Racist, man. Can I say that?
Yeah. You can.
Yeah, okay. So she said it was more racist in Hollywood than it was in like Alabama or Georgia, where she came from, or something, which I thought was pretty hilarious, and probably I wouldn't even doubt it's true. It sounds about right to me.
Well, if you consider that all of I mean, if you look at these
I can't remember the actor's name,
stereotypical,
man. I might have it. I might have the link. Go ahead.
yeah, if you look at the stereotypical imagery, in particular, of black men, that is put forward by Hollywood, all of the totally ridiculous, clearly racist, uh, artifacts from minstrel shows and all that kind of stuff, in black men, in particular, black comedians putting dresses on, emasculating the men,
Oh
all of that kind
yeah,
of stuff. All of
yeah.
that stuff is Hollywood, man. Hollywood does all that stuff, and they still do that stuff.
We used to cover that. There's a channel called Stranger Than Fiction that used to cover that all the time. I covered it too back in like 4 or 5 years ago, how they would do stuff like that. He covers it a lot. Stranger Than Fiction. You probably like that channel. Although I don't know if he does videos that much anymore, but he used to do tons of videos like that back in the old days, covering these topics. Yeah, he's got one right here about Shia LaBeouf and Kanye West. He does a lot of this. He also does the Vatican ones like I do. But he's got a lot of good ones in that realm we were talking about. Here we go. You got what's his name? What the hell is that guy's name? The singer, Little Nas or Nas X or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's got older ones where he talks about some of the stuff you're talking about. He's got Puff Diddy back here and some older ones that talk about exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, whoops. I should put that back up because it's just disappearing on the screen. And all right, there you go. Yeah. I actually have, I'm trying to remember the actress. I think I have her right here. Where is it? Octavia Spencer says Hollywood is more racist than Alabama. Right here. Yeah, here you go. This lady.
Oh yeah.
She says there's a lot in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is really fake type of stuff, man. I knew some people from California. It's just like there's too many fake people. I'm not saying everybody there. Of course, there's probably good people there. I'm sure. But.
I'll tell you. I think the South gets a bad rap for being.
That's
racist.
all the movies. No, that's the movies, man. The movies make it sound like backwards, redneck. That's where all the cannibals are. That's where all the racists and cannibals are all out there. And in reality, when you look at what the statistics, it's probably more likely in the city you're going to see crazy stuff like that. And I'm trying to stop this commercial from playing. Can you stop?
And not only that, but I think what has been most responsible for the negative images, these racist images and stereotypes, has been Hollywood.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like you have Angelina Jolie. She also adopted a bunch of kids like Madonna, and look at what happened to Brad Pitt. I mean, he got such a bad rap. Angelina Jolie is just a control freak, femi, you know what I mean? And I'm sure Madonna's probably not much different than that. Has she even been married? I don't think she's ever even been married, has she?
Who, Jolie?
Madonna? Oh no, Madonna. She was with that one guy, that actor back in the old days. I know they were really close. I can't remember his name.
Well, last thing I knew, she was dating some 20-year-old guy.
Sounds about right, dude. Yeah, I mean, back in the 90s, she was talking about being with like high schoolers and stuff. So, So, and she was like probably, what would she be in the 90s? 30 or something? She's like 65 now. Whatever she'd be in the 90s. I don't know what she'd be. But she's older than us. And in the 90s, we were already like 20 plus. So, right. Yeah. But I mean, it's just amazing how you see all this with Hollywood. And actually, I wanted to show you this. This is really interesting. You've heard of Enoch, the book of Enoch, right? You've heard of that book, right? It talks about 200 watchers or angels that came down on Mount Hermon, and they made a pact there, right? Guess where this is? This is on top of the highest point of Mount Hermon. It's a UN whatever you call it, location, and it's got a star. The star actually represents Lucifer. It's an 8-pronged star, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was rather curious. So that's on top of Mount Hermon, where these watchers came down. But of course, all that stuff's fake, folks. None of it exists. All of fake, even though Madonna is like literally, mocking and all this. It's completely fake. Just ignore this. Little Nas X promoted to the top of, what was it? The trending page on YouTube. That same with what's her name, Billie Eilish. She came out with her Lucifer song. It was put on the top of trending on purpose. They like push it. They artificially push these things out there so they can corrupt, younger, get them all following these people, doing their goofy stuff. Little Nas X, he's out there making not exactly good videos. And he used to he had a Christian video, didn't he? He had like some song. What was it? His first song was like, he had like really good lyrics and stuff like that. It was like a horse song or something. You know what I'm talking about? He even had like a song that was like a Christian song. He like actually started out really innocent. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah.
He was so pulling all these innocent kids, all these,
Of course.
family value type people, and then he completely changes, starts praising.
What was the name of the what is it, Old Country Road or something?
That was one of them. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, and of course that's like a little kids love that song, and then the next thing they come out with is this way over the top Luciferian
evil
stuff,
like literally riding, of course, on top of him. I mean, give me a break, dude. So stupid and retarded. And I mean, I'm not supposed to say that, right? But I don't even know what YouTube thinks about that. But the funny part is, like, you see this all the time. They do this. I mean, it's not funny, but you see this all the time. Who was the Wrecking Ball song lady? I don't remember her name. She like shaved her head off, and you know what I'm talking about? Wrecking Ball, that song. She did the exact same thing. She did the exact same thing he did. And they were both, I think, worked at Disney. Didn't they both work at Miley Cyrus? Didn't they both work at Disney? They always start off at Disney. They're all really, innocent, nice, good, clean, everything perfect. Next thing you know, they're like, Lucifer's awesome. Like, that's like their next song, They start out like, God's kind of cool. And then the next song, Lucifer's cool. It's like that. It's like literally that what they do. It's like literally the exact opposite of what they were doing, like the next song. And then, of course, YouTube's like, yeah, trending. He came out the right way finally. He's not talking about God anymore. He's talking about the devil now. This is good. I mean, this is literally what I feel about these people that run like the trending page. I mean, really, bro? Seriously? I mean, give me a break. What is this? It makes you wonder who's running it. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous.
That stuff was pretty garbage. All right, so here, let's do this. Let's head back over.
Yeah, let's go to your thing. Already covered a bunch of stuff over here, man.
Video breakdown.
All right, so I got a couple more for us. We can start with this one, and this is not this ain't lighthearted.
The strongest man in the entire world turns weak as a lamb when they catch their girl at the hotel. Welcome back to Rice's Rules.
So they told the husband to go outside?
Yeah. So I mean, because
so
she was.
Go cheat? I mean, why are they intervening? What are these people? They only care when they want to do evil. Is that the idea? I don't understand that.
So this is what happened. This is what happened. The guy, he follows his wife. They go to a hotel. He catches them in the hotel with the guy that she's cheating with. Now, the wife and the guy that she's cheating with, they have a room there, so they're allowed to be on the premises.
Oh,
This guy doesn't have he doesn't have the right to be there because he didn't pay for a room, and it's
oh
seen that
wow.
he's basically just creating trouble, and so they're just trying to do whatever they can do. So the fault, of course, is not on the hotel. So I don't have any issue with what the hotel
Well,
did. They
I
were
feel
just
like if
trying to
it
keep
was
the
a
peace. They were just trying to
if it
keep
was
the
a
peace and make sure that nothing happened on their
if it was a
premises.
family hotel, I don't think like if it was like a just a family whatever, you know what I mean? They wouldn't be like, yeah, let's just let them stay here and do this and destroy that guy's life. I mean, they just would. I don't think this is because it's a business
Well,
that doesn't care, pretty much.
it is a business that doesn't care, but they don't really have anything that they could do. And if they did act on the behalf of
Right?
the
There's laws
guy,
that probably grew up.
then there's
Yeah,
then they could actually get sued. So the issue
they
is
could just
not
give
the
him a room, but
hotel.
they don't want to do that. They don't want to give him a room either because
Yeah.
you know,
Well, she
because they
already
don't want to.
had a
They don't want
room.
to lose money.
They
Right.
they already had a
Right.
room. They had already been doing the dirt. But here's the thing.
And she
And
tells him
I
to go
tell
home too, right? Didn't she tell him to go home?
yeah. So but here's the thing. And this is why I tell men, look,
Just
one of the
divorce her.
reasons why there is a lot of content now showing men how to make better decisions with respect to the women that they date, the women that they marry, is because of this kind of stuff.
Yep, exactly.
Look, a woman can destroy your life. She can destroy your life. You need to know that you can trust them, and you need to adequately vet. You need to adequately vet.
Of
Not
course,
just
these days.
halfway, not just right, not just she's pretty and she's nice to me and like this. That's not enough. You need to know a lot more information
Oh yeah.
about about who it is that you get married to. Now, I'm in my second marriage. I made a bad decision the first time around. Now, fortunately, it didn't go. It wasn't. It sucked, but a lot worse stuff could have happened. You just have to do a better job. But there's a reason why there's a lot of content that's exposing a certain kind of woman and their motives, is because that woman can totally destroy your life. In this situation, I'm not going to say that this guy's perfect. He's probably not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But I'll tell you, it's hard for me to believe that there weren't probably some sort of signals that this is probably not a good person for him to link up with.
Well, there's also the factor of like this can happen to a man or a woman. Like if you're a good guy or a good girl, there's people out there that aren't good that can see that you're good and they see you as a free meal
100%.
or a ticket or something, and they'll pretend to be that good person for so long, but they'll have maybe a few warning signs here and there, but you may, because you're in love, completely ignore
Right.
those warning signs or not even know what they are to look for. But yeah, I mean, it can happen to a guy or a girl like this. And I mean, the same with the girls. I mean, there's not a lot of good guys even these days, especially there's a lot of guys that are probably not worthy to be married to these days. I mean, uh, who knows? But you know, what I mean, so I think it's probably not easy for everybody at this point because of the way society is and the way it's falling, of course, apart as well.
All
I mean, look at
right.
Madonna right there. Look at Madonna, man. Goodness gracious.
Let's see here. I think I have one more.
All right.
Wait a minute. Well, I guess it's just this. I guess it's just this one. I thought I had another one, but that's okay. Let's take a look at this one video here, and then we'll head back over to you. And I also have that other video if you want me to play it.
Oh, I have a really cool thing to talk about after this. It's a little bit different though, but go ahead.
All right. Here we go.
I am aware that I'm not a man and I will never be a man. However, I'm not willing to debate what I'm about to say. So I low-key feel like now that I've healed and I look at relationships differently, men get the short end of the stick because You're not allowed to be sensitive, but how dare you not talk to me about how you feeling? Don't be emotionally constipated, but if you tell me too much how you really feeling, then I don't believe that you're man enough for me. I don't want you to be this superhuman all the time, but you can't take that S off your chest. Do not sit the world down off of your shoulders around me, because I'm not willing to pick it up and help shoulder it. Like, you can't have boundaries. You can't have standards. You can't require a woman bring something to the table that you set before she was even in the picture. You're not allowed to have a broken heart. You're not allowed to be afraid of love. You're not allowed to have walls. You're not allowed to be vulnerable. There are so many things that the world will not allow you to do, but they also expect you to do the same thing. You know what I mean? The world would have you to believe that you're...
Yeah, it's a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of double standards. There's a lot of, this is what I want you to do, but if you do that, then that's going to be an issue.
Isn't that some of the feminine stuff that's happening? I think that caused that to happen because there's not these clear boundaries between a man and, of course, a woman.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, a woman can do it too. So then, if that's the case, then the man has, but then the woman's still expecting the man to do all these things that he used to do when it was a traditional, but then also wants the man to be non-traditional, which is impossible because it's a contradiction. So I think that's probably where that all comes from, right? What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Oh, you want me to show something?
Yeah.
All right. So I had some interesting thing I discovered. I don't think I talked about this. Why does it say event? Oh yeah, here we go. Did you know that okay, so you've heard all these people talk about the tribulation, the 7-year tribulation in the end, of course, times, all this stuff.
Mhm.
Now, what's really interesting is a lot of people have no clue where that even comes from, the history of that. And it actually comes from, once you go back and actually understand where it comes from, you realize how it doesn't even sound right. And then you actually can look into and find something in history where something already happened that actually fulfills something. So you got Daniel here. It talks about there being 70 weeks determined upon my people, upon the holy city, to finish a transgression, to make end of sins, make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, to see up the vision of prophecy. And it talks about, essentially, it tells you that there's going to be seven weeks to the rebuilding of Jerusalem. That's 49 years, 7 times 7. And then 62 weeks until the Messiah comes, right? And all these prophecy teachers would go around saying, oh, so 7 plus 62, 69, and there's 70 weeks total, but only 69 have happened. Where's this last week, this last 7 years? And they say, well, it just transferred 2,000 years into the future, and it's now. We're going to have the 7-year tribulation in the near future. This is what a lot of these prophecy guys teach. Now, when I think of 70 weeks, I would assume they'd be in a row, not like, one transferred 2,000 years later. You know what I mean? So when you do it that way, when you actually just make it in a row and just let it read as it says, and just, take the normal assumptions like, well, it's just 70 weeks in a row. There was actually a historical event that happened, and it was cited by 3 historians. I think one was Tacitus, and you got Flavius Josephus, where they actually saw soldiers and chariots in the clouds surrounding Jerusalem. And it's actually a historical event that happened. Okay. And almost no one knows about this. And Flavius Josephus is famous. You can go buy his works anywhere. They would be in Christian bookstores everywhere. It's just funny no one knows about this. And let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, here it is. Let's see, where is it? Okay. Okay, here we go. A few days after here it is. A few days after the feast of 21st day of the month of Artemisis, I don't know how to say that, a certain prodigious and incredible phenomenon appeared. I suppose the account of it would seem to be a fable, were not related by those that saw it, and were not the events that followed it of so considerable a nature as to deserve such signals. For before sun setting, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor were seen running about among the clouds, surrounding of cities. And it sounds like they might have surrounded more than one city in the clouds. Everybody talks about the rapture. And of course, so what I'm saying is, it says in the good book, behold, I come quickly. And he's talking to his followers. Okay, he's talking literally to his followers. He's not talking to you and I 2,000 years later. He's talking, and I'm not saying that there isn't going to be a future thing where we see him in the clouds. It may actually happen again. I don't know. But what I'm saying is he was specifically talking to his followers, and he even said John might still be alive or will be alive when what if he's still alive when I come, right? He said something like that. And this is in AD 60 or AD 70 that this happened. And it was written by, there's historians, professional historians they don't believe in any of this. They're like, one was a Roman, like doesn't believe in any of this. This guy is a Jew. I don't know if he believed in the King of Kings when he wrote this. I'm not sure. Some say he did, some say he didn't. I don't know. And then there was some other famous historian that also wrote about this event as well. So this was an event everyone saw in the clouds happen. And it also says that there were spirits in the temple that said, let us remove hence. They felt a quaking and heard a great noise, and after that I heard a sound of a great multitude saying, let us remove hence. So I find stuff like this all the time, and it's amazing because you hear all these prophecy teachers, 7-year tribulation, 7-year tribulation. Everybody's like, oh yeah, 7-year tribulation, that's going to happen. And what's really funny about it is like no one knows where where it came from. Where did this idea of 7 years come from? And then when you backtrack it and you find out where it came from, and then you actually look into the history, you find out this stuff. And so I'm saying, I think a lot of these teachers, they're just going off theories that have been built on other theories that may have not even been true or accurate. And so their whole eschatology might be just built on things that are not even correct. And so I try to go into history and find all these type of things. There's other weird things as well. This is just one of them right here. So that's where you get all these prophecy guys talking about 7-year tribulation all the time. That's where it comes from. But what's amazing is there's a famous historian, or not historian, early church father, Theolophus of Antioch. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's from AD 169. He says all the years from the creation of the world amount to the total of 5,698 years in odd months and days. Okay, and he's living in AD 169. So if you subtract 5698 from 169, you get about 5,500 and something, 5,530, something like that, right? Which would be around the time that Jesus was born, right? Well, what's interesting is there's a bunch of apocryphal and pseudepigraphical texts that say that he would come at year 5,500. I can show you them. This is the kind of stuff we never hear about. You never hear about any of this stuff. And what's amazing is the timeline. Most people don't believe this timeline. Most people have been taught a corrupted timeline that was corrupted by the Masoretes. And this is where we have it from the Hebrew Masoretic. They subtracted 100 years on all 6 of these people purposefully so that they could say that Jesus wasn't of the order of Melchizedek, because they were trying to make an argument against him because they didn't believe in him. So they actually modified the numbers. They actually modified the timeline. And it says in Daniel 7, they'll change times and seasons. It says that in Daniel 7. So what's amazing about this is if you look at the early fathers, he talks about basically Jesus was born in 5,500. And if you go to the apocryphal text that predicted it, it says he'll be coming at 5,500. You got first Adam and Eve. You got second Adam and Eve. It says right here, at the end of a great 5 days and a half, concerning which I have made the promise to thee and thy father, I will send my word and save thee and thy seed. And it even says down here in the book of Adam, which is another book, and when 5,000 years will be completed, then at the 5,500th year, the beloved Son, Elohim, shall come, the Messiah will come. And it even says he'll be baptized in the river Jordan. So it even tells you all the stuff thousands of years before it happened. So there's no excuse for them not knowing he's coming. They have these books, and now these books have been hidden, and now people are starting to find these things in these books. But these books were well known back then. So it's just amazing. A lot of people know nothing about this. So it tells you when he's coming, and it tells you the end was at 6,000, year 6,000. So that would be 500 years after he was born. And what happened at 500 years was the fall of the Roman Empire. And what's amazing is it actually fits Revelation. This guy goes through and actually shows how it perfectly fits Revelation, like some of the descriptions in it. So some of Revelation was actually fulfilled in the fall of the Roman Empire. And he goes through and shows you, this guy goes through and explains it out. And what's amazing is it talks about a millennial kingdom after the 6,000 year. What did we have after 500 AD? We had the medieval times, which was 1,000 years, 500 to 1500 AD, of essentially kind of like a time of Christianity, the millennial kingdom. You see what I mean? It's
Yeah.
kind of amazing. I'm not saying this is perfectly accurate, but this is the stuff I've been researching and figuring out. I just think it's pretty amazing. But so I don't know what do you think about it? Sounds kind of interesting,
Yeah,
or what?
no, it's very interesting. I in particular that messing around with the numbers business, that sounds like something. I talk about the Council of Jamnia, or I have.
Oh yeah,
When the Council of Jamnia was a Jewish council that was convened after the beginning of the Christian era, and the issue was that because the early Christian liturgy was nothing but a Christianization of the Jewish liturgy, and then the language was in common, and the canon of Scripture that was used. For instance, when Timothy says all Scripture, he's talking about the Septuagint, because 300 years before the time of Christ, King Ptolemy had that he had 70 scholars, translate the Masoretic to or the Hebrew rather into Greek, and not by one word were any of the translations different, and they were not permitted to collaborate or to interact with each other. The Jews saw that as a miracle, and so they switched 300 years before the time of Christ. They switched to using the Septuagint, and they stayed using the Septuagint up until the end of the until Council of Jamnia. So they
the
said,
80-90
"Hey,
or 80-50. When was that? 80-90 or something like that?
oh no, one
60.
way
When was
earlier than
Jamnia?
that." Yeah,
It was
yeah,
80-60
right.
maybe, something like that.
Well, no, right.
Yeah,
AD,
somewhere in that
right
range.
after death, right?
Yeah,
AD. That's what you're saying.
yeah, 60 or
Yes,
90, somewhere in there.
right. It's in that range. So anyhow, they switched to the Septuagint primarily, due to, okay, we're hemorrhaging. We need to slow this down, and so let's switch back to the Hebrew. But in switching back to the Hebrew, the deuterocanonical texts, which were just part of the canon. So, like again, when
Right,
Timothy, when Paul says all Scripture, right? When he says all Scripture, he's talking about the Septuagint, which included those quote
right.
unquote apocryphal, deuterocanonical, the books that the Protestants had thrown out. Though in the early Protestant Bible, and in fact
They
the
had it. Yeah,
1611 King James, it had all of those books in
yep.
there.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's amazing. Second Esdras, chapter 14 predicts its own removal. It even says how many books will remain in the Bible, and it's one of the books that got removed. So,
right.
yeah, actually, even the settlers, when they came to America, they had the Apocrypha in the Bible, and then they removed it. And so
Yeah.
this is all modern. This whole thing about, oh, yeah, Protestants never accepted they had it in their Bibles before, like, the settlers came to America, dude. I mean, it's just not
Yeah.
like, it's not like some, it's like, it's
Yeah.
all
I've
made
heard.
up history.
Yeah. So, and also it's obvious now. There's some other speculation because uh, many of the books that got taken out, there's a lot of messianic, prophecies and
Oh
stuff in
yeah,
those books. And,
Esdras has a lot. Esdras is a really good one.
yeah, and so that's supposedly was a reason for it. Another reason for
That's
it
part of it.
was, yeah, another reason for it was this, and they use this argument. I've heard
Well,
ministers,
I just
Protestant.
showed you a couple books there that literally predict when he was coming, exactly when he's
Mhm.
coming. So they had no excuse when he was there. All they had to do was look at their books. Oh, yeah, he's supposed to come right now. They just didn't like him. Simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. I've had ministers try to tell me that that there's some issue with the Maccabean period, and so and that's when a bunch of corruption came in, and blah blah blah, and so they had to throw those books out, like this kind of thing. And it's just a bunch of hogwash. The fact is that the Septuagint is the Bible. It is the Old Testament of the Bible. It is the
Yeah.
the
The Dead Sea Scrolls back it up too.
right, and there's more, and here's the sort of linchpin. This is, if none of that stuff is convincing, the linchpin is so so at the Council of Jamnia, they were like, look, you need to tell folks to stop using the Septuagint. You need to revert back to the Masoretic. Well, actually, not revert back. You need to. Here's what you're going to use.
The Masoretic is actually after that. They start manipulating the text to get rid of things.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's why.
That's
and
like
that's why
I think it's like 3rd century to 6th century. They start messing with the text and trying to get things changed. They try to use Hebrew vowel points to change the text. Like Psalm 22 predicted the Messiah, his hands of feet will be pierced, and they changed the vowels so that it says something about a lion instead. They purposely manipulated the text to go away from Jesus, basically. That's what they did.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's why I tried not to call it Masoretic. The Masoretic is the Old Testament that I have questions about. The Hebrew, when I say that, I'm talking about the Hebrew would have been the same as the Septuagint.
Right. Dead Sea Scrolls, for example.
Right. Yeah. So that would have been the same. But the evidence that this did transpire is that all communities changed except for some communities that didn't get the word, like in Ethiopia. So you have
Ethiopia. That's a great one.
They still use They still use the Septuagint to this day. So
they were one of the few that the Vatican couldn't touch. Rome couldn't touch Ethiopia for some reason, and they got
no. I'm not talking about Christians. I'm talking about Jews.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Ethiopian Orthodox Church.
No. Okay, no. What I'm saying is there's Jewish communities in Africa that did not get the word about switching back or to accepting the Masoretic instead of the Septuagint.
Maybe that's why
they still use the Septuagint.
Maybe that's why the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has such a great foundation, is maybe because they didn't get the word, like you're saying, earlier on. With the Jews,
yeah. So that's an
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, but these numbers that you're talking about, that's in line with the whole Jamnia business.
Yeah, there's a like if you type into Google, say like creation date or something like that. Well, I'm not doing it right, but there's a way you can do it where it'll actually say there's 2 different camps. One says that creation was at 4,000, and one says it was at 5,500 BC. One says 4,000 BC. One says 5,500 BC. And according to this, and according to those texts, is the correct one is the 5,500 BC. So right now it's actually year 7,500 and something. We're well past the millennial kingdom. We're 500 years past it, which means we're past the Middle Ages, and we're in 2022. And this is and if 22. It's correct, if I'm understanding this correctly, what it means is Lucifer was in the bottomless, as you would say, pit during the Middle Ages, and that's why they were so Christianized for that long, for 1,000 years. And then he was let out, and now we have the Age of Enlightenment. We got all this crazy stuff going on ever since. It's because Lucifer was let out, and he's running amok again. And it says in Revelation he has a short time. Now, one day is 1,000 years. It's been 500 years. That's like half a day. I don't know what a short time means, but obviously it probably doesn't mean there's much longer. It's definitely not going to be another 7,000 years or 1,000 years or anything. Probably not even 1,000 years. It's probably going to be very soon. Will be the end final, the last end. And it talks about the Gog, Magog, WAR, which happens to have maybe the Russians with all their current set up. And it looks pretty much like everything's ramping up to the final thing it says in Revelation, which is that. And that's the final thing. So World WAR number 3 would probably be the final event. While a lot of believers are looking for this, rapture to get out beforehand, that may be not the case. Maybe it already happened. Maybe there's, what I'm saying? Like I just showed you that historical event thing. I honestly, I haven't looked into all the rapture verses. Maybe there's some other rapture. Maybe there's more than one rapture. I don't know. I don't look into
and I'm not a pre-tribulation rapture guy.
Yeah,
Orthodox are post-tribulation rapture folks.
Well, yeah, at the end you're going to get zapped out of here after the final anything. He's going to make a new heaven, new earth anyway. So
Right. But
However that would work. So
my point is that there's
yeah,
not going to be any rescuing of the real Christians, so that they don't have to endure the tumult. It's going to
yeah,
be those
I can
that
understand. I can understand that. I mean, I look at it kind of like we're not going to get punished, but we might have to go through some bad stuff
right,
like that.
and the bad stuff is part of the test. The
Yeah,
bad
it's part of
stuff
the
is to
test,
see
right?
if you're actually worth something or not.
That's
I'm
why I
not
used
going
to
to
say
take
I
you.
was mid. I used to say I was mid trib, but actually the whole 7 years is like just wrong. I just showed you how Daniel is just 70 weeks in a row. Why would there be 7 years transferred 2,000 years in the future? That don't even make any sense. I don't think it makes any sense, but that's all the prophecy teachers are based off that, which is kind of funny. It's all based off something that's probably wrong.
Well, the
And
Left Behind stuff, that whole Left Behind stuff, which
yeah,
is sort of uh,
it's an
it's
interesting
a
movie. I mean, I like the movie, but it was a long time ago.
yeah, but it's
I like those
also
kind of movies. It's
well,
not accurate.
I like them too.
Yeah,
It's just false.
yeah,
It's just
yeah.
but
I'm
all
not
right,
saying
here
I'm 100% right. I'm not saying that. I'm looking for the truth myself. I've went through. I've had every opinion you can think of on Revelation, so I've pretty much been everywhere. So, but go ahead, man. What are you gonna say?
all right. Let's see here. You want me to play some of that video?
Oh yeah. Oh, what was it about Madonna, right?
Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah,
Video
go ahead.
breakdown.
Oh yeah, this is the guy I told you. He's like former. Well, he's a Catholic that's not pro the Pope. He's one of these guys that thinks that 1960 Catholic Church got off track, which I mean it is pretty much off track. It's pretty obvious. So I respect these kind of guys.
Might as
He's
well
a
just
good
be
guy.
Orthodox. What's the deal? All right. Here we
He's
go.
a Catholic he's like a staunch traditional Catholic that thinks that the Vatican got off track. Basically, that's what he is.
Yeah, just go Orthodox. Anyhow, here we go.
Okay.
Madonna, why do you want to burn in hell? This is the latest blasphemy, the latest sacrilege from the pop singer Madonna, who from day one has associated herself in sacrilege, associating herself as the Madonna, which is the Italian for My Lady. It's a title for the Blessed Virgin Mary. And her whole career is full of sacrilege and degeneracy. And this past week, she has gone for the gold. It is the worst sacrilege she has committed yet. She's depicting herself as the Blessed Virgin Mary, Our Lady of Seven Sorrows. I'll go into what that means. In case you're not Catholic, you don't know what this image means. I'm going to explain to you what it means from the Bible and why Madonna is mocking it. She also depicts herself as Jesus Christ. At a Last Supper meal, I had to put bars, little blurry bars on the screen because it's totally degenerate and disgusting and blasphemous. And you go to hell for this kind of stuff, Madonna. You got to repent. This is like this Last Supper orgy thing. She's got this girl here depicting John on her breast. It's disgusting. Here it is. Here she's doing a Last Supper. She's lifting up. Looks like the Eucharist. Well, it's all disgusting. Then she also wore a dress with dead babies on it. This was also in Vanity Fair. By the way, Vanity Fair, y'all are complete and total trash. Total trash. You should be ashamed of yourself for publishing this nonsense. So Madonna, yeah, here she is in the dead baby dress.
Oh my goodness.
With on her right, there's the red devil person. What is she doing here? She's mocking.
I wonder who she's serving, man. Dead babies on her. Goodness gracious, man.
Yeah,
that's so ridiculous.
It really is. And
well, it shows you where the devil is, what he likes. He likes that. I mean, that's really what Moloch was. That's what that was all about. And you see it with that Balenciaga, you see it with all this stuff. And of course, you can just say it's all fake and whatever, but it just seems a little weird how this stuff seems to come up all the time. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Jesus, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings. You see that in this disgusting image here. But she's also mocking the Blessed Virgin Mary, and she's also mocking babies, and we all know what this means, Madonna. It's abortion, okay? We're not idiots. Dead babies on your dress, mocking Mary, mocking Jesus. We know exactly what you're doing. And it's degenerate. It's disgusting. I'm going to go into some of the biblical stuff here so y'all know the symbolism and know what she's after. But I found this quote, and she says, I was fiercely criticized by the Catholic Church. Like she's playing the victim here. I was fiercely criticized by the Catholic Church. She was astounded to see herself attacked by the church because, quote, it's incapable of understanding how much my work was trying to produce something good. I quickly realized that they were the problem, not me, says Madonna. They were the problem because they did not understand that my work as an artist united people, gave them freedom of expression, unity. It was the mirror of Jesus' teaching. Sacrilege, blasphemy. Absolutely not. Now, Madonna has a history of being into the occult and into Luciferian symbolism. Here's a very early from the 80s depiction of the young Madonna. Look at her jacket there. She got the Novus Ordo Secularum, the New World Order. We all know that from our dollar bill. It's bad. And then in 2012, you'll remember she was at the Super Bowl halftime show and she dressed like a pagan satanic priestess. People compared her outfit to the Baphomet image. Again, sacrilegious and blasphemous. And Madonna said she was just trying to create a church experience for people because the Super Bowl in football is the holy of holies.
She's retarded, dude. Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, what do you think, man?
Yeah,
She just
she's
lying to people. Maybe she's trying to deceive Christians that are ignorant to just keep following her or something. What do you think? Why do you think she's saying that stuff?
So usually I don't think that there is any intentional agenda afoot with these kinds of artists because they tend to not be clever enough or smart enough to actually be doing it for whatever nefarious reasons intentionally. But in her case, it just seems like there's too much stuff for her to totally not have an idea that the stuff that she's doing obviously is satanic. It's obviously, poking fun at, putting a thumb in the eye. It obviously is more than just someone just trying to do some irreverent stuff, because when you do some irreverent stuff, you can get attention. When in attention is the currency. With her, it just seems like it's more than that.
Like she has Lucifer telling her his plans and stuff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," something like that, right? Seems like it pretty much. Well, my whole thing is like, look how old she is, and she just doesn't get it, man. I mean, look how clueless she has to be. You're 65 and you're still doing this stuff. It's not like you're rebelling as you're younger or something. She's obviously committed her entire life to this, and it's not going to go well for her in the afterlife the way she's going. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Well,
I mean, she's like grandma age, man. Come on, what in the world?
Yeah, it's
pathetic.
That the whole young and dumb. I was young. I made mistakes. I didn't know better. She can't use any of that.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. She's like a grandma, dude. It's like pathetic.
All right, let's keep going.
You might be right about that, but it's the Church of Satan. Now, what's going on here with the image you see on my left? This is in Catholic symbolism. And by the way, you'll see on the cover here, it says the icon issue. Again, mocking Christianity, the icon issue. This image, if you're Catholic, you've seen this in churches. By the way, if you're watching right now and you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. Hit the like button. It comes from
That goes for y'all too. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Please support the show. Please support the show. If you enjoy this content, please let us know. Super chats enabled. Super thanks for the replay gang. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Dr. Thunder Music, all one word. Spell out the word doctor. Let's keep going.
the Gospel of St. Luke, and I put the verse on the screen. What happened in Luke is when Mary and Joseph brought baby Jesus to the temple, they presented Christ in the temple as was stipulated by Moses in the Torah. And at that moment, there was a prophet named Simeon who lived at the temple and prayed at the temple. And he took up the baby Jesus and he made a prophecy to the Virgin Mary. And part of that prophecy is Luke chapter 2, verse 35. And he says to the Virgin Mary, "And thy own soul a sword shall pierce, that out of many hearts thoughts may be revealed." Now, I would challenge our evangelical friends to read that and say, what does that mean? Why is it that Mary's heart, her soul, is going to be pierced and it's going to reveal thoughts? If Mary's just a normal woman, just like everybody else, why would the prophet say this about the Virgin Mary? It refers, in Catholic theology, to when Christ was pierced on the cross. When he hung on the cross, they put a spear into his side and water and blood came out. We could talk about that symbolism in another video. But at that moment, Our Lady was at the foot of the cross. And when she saw that Christ had died for the sins of the world, her own heart, her own soul was pierced. Now, in Catholic theology, you'll sometimes see a sword going into the heart of Mary, and sometimes you see 7 swords going into the heart. What's that all about? Well, these are the 7 sorrows of Mary. The first one is the one I just described to you in Luke chapter 2. The second sorrow is when Mary had to leave Israel, leave Bethlehem, and flee into Egypt with the Christ child. The third sorrow of Mary is when she lost Christ in the temple. You remember that when he turned 12 years old, they took him to the temple for the feast day, and then Joseph and Mary couldn't find him for 3 days. The fourth sorrow of Mary is when Mary saw Jesus carrying the cross on the way of the cross. The fifth sorrow is when Mary saw that Jesus was crucified on Mount Calvary. The sixth sorrow is when they took Jesus down off the cross, and in tradition, they let Mary hold his dead body one last time. That's the subject of the Pietà by Michelangelo. And then the seventh sorrow is when they placed the body of Jesus in the tomb and sealed the tomb. Those are the 7 sorrows of Mary. And since the first sorrow, according to the Bible, is depicted with the sword, Catholic artists have often depicted Mary with her heart being pierced 7 times, or the 7 sorrows of Mary. And this is what Madonna is mocking on the cover of Vanity Fair. It's why she has the tears in her eyes. There's the heart, the Immaculate Heart of Mary, with fire coming out of it, and then these 7 swords piercing it. If we move on, we see that she also depicts herself as Jesus Christ, triumphant. There's this weird, awkward rosary. It's not a real rosary, draped over her body. She's dressed as Christ, usually how Christ is depicted at the resurrection. And this is part of the scene of the Last Supper, completely sacrilegious and disgusting.
Now, maybe I was wrong about not having any women of color, because now it seems like, at least in this one, there are 2, one all the way in the back and then the one in the forefront here that's got the, something blurred out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a LGBT orgy. And here she is overseeing this false satanic Eucharist. And if you're just joining us, here she is in the latest Vanity Fair in her dead baby dress with the red demon person next to her.
Look, this is really disgusting. You see this woman that is sitting down. This bigger woman on the that's seated. And I don't know if she has a baby. Is that a little kid? Is there a kid in this?
I can't tell.
It looks like this is a little kid right here. If you could see where my mouse is, I think this is a kid. This looks like a kid.
Maybe.
This is just gross, man. What the heck is
I,
wrong with her?
to people on the outside, it looks very obviously like something ain't right. When they have dead, as you would say, it just doesn't. It's like, what are you doing? Like, how can this be good in any way? Shape? What universe can this be good in? I don't understand what universe this is good in. There is no universe this is good in. There's no way you can make it good, and there's no way you can argue it. It's like just complete ridiculous. It shows you clearly who you're serving. I mean, it makes it very obvious. And, she could play dumb like, oh, I didn't know what the seven, swords meant. Maybe she doesn't know what that means. Who knows? But I'm sure someone knew what it was. I'm sure there's a reason why someone picked that and put it on the cover. Who knows? I mean, the fact of the matter is she's been around a long time. She's got to know what this stuff means by now. I mean, maybe she's just, being sacrilegious just for without really thinking so much about it. But I clearly think she's putting effort into this, whether she
Well, that's
is
what I'm
being
saying.
very intentional. I don't know if she means it in a malicious way or if she's just doing it for clicks because she can stay relevant. And she's kind of malicious in a respect like that. She's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how deep her intent is with this. I know it's evil.
Yeah.
I know it's malicious, but how much so, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's keep going.
Now, you can't mock God. It says in the Bible that God shall not be mocked. Why is she doing this? Well, she has a big world tour. She's trying to sell tickets. She's really a washed up 80s pop star. And somehow, I don't know how old she is now. I mean, is she 60? I don't know. Somehow, she still thinks that by being provocative and promoting nudity and degeneracy,
64.
she's still relevant. She's still cool. And in reality, it's just like watching a degenerate grandma dance around. She's going for shock and awe, and that's why in her latest attempt.
Yeah, I mean, so
exactly. That's what I was thinking.
So he basically said what you said, and I'm telling you that I just did a Google search. She's 64 years old.
I was thinking she's 65. I was close. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's close, but the point is that that's too old to still be doing this kind of stuff.
It's because she thinks she knows her time is up, man. She knows her time is up, and she doesn't want to face the music. That she could die. Who knows how far in the near future? She's already a grandma, pretty much. I mean, she's not 80 or something, but you know what I mean. Obviously, no one's going to look at her if she's 80. I mean, there's no amount of plastic surgery is going to help her in that case. But the fact is, I mean, she's already washed up and she just doesn't understand it or realize it. And she's willing to sell anything to stay relevant. Apparently, she's willing to go to the depths of Satan or whatever to stay as relevant as she can. In Satan's world, apparently. I don't know.
So part of this though makes me think that okay. So, and he pointed out some good things early in the video where he was talking about even her name, Madonna. That is sacrilegious for her to call herself that, right? So she is attempting to usurp something. She's doing something intentionally to be irreverent, to repurpose the name of the
it
mother
wasn't so blasphemous before, though. Like, some people were kind of like, maybe she's saying she's a Catholic, and some people actually somehow justified it in their mind when back in the 80s and 90s, but now it's like so obvious, you know what I mean? So, I mean, before it was like the devil being deceptive partially, but now it's like out in the open, and it feels like that's what it is with everything now. It's so out in the open in your face. It's so obvious, unless you're completely blind, you can't see it. Right? I mean, everything around us now is like this.
Okay, so here, check it out. I want to read. This is one of her early hits, "Like a Virgin." You know this song, "Like a Virgin."
Yeah. I don't even know what this
from 1984. About. So this song's from 1984. So let me read the lyrics here. "I made it through the wilderness. Somehow I made it through. Didn't know how lost I was until I found you. I was beat, incomplete. I'd been had. I was sad and blue, but you made me feel. Yeah, you made me feel shiny and new. Like a virgin touched for the very first time, like a virgin when your heart beats next to mine. Gonna give you all my love, boy. My fear is fading fast. Been saving it all for you, 'cause only love can last. You're so fine in your mind. Make me strong. Yeah, you make me bold. Oh, your love thawed out. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Thawed out. Yeah, your love thawed out what was scared and cold. Like a virgin, blah, blah, blah. Well, okay. You're so fine, you're mine. I'll be yours till the end of time, 'cause you made me feel. Yeah, you made me feel. I've nothing to hide. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like it's overtly
It's
sacrilegious
kind of
or
like
like,
it sounds like a girl trying to fall in love with a guy, and
right,
but she might be obviously saying more behind that, because when she said the wilderness, it made me think of like Luke 4 or something, like the devil in the
right, right,
wilderness.
right, right.
But but a
Yeah,
lot
it
of people
does
wouldn't even
sound
think
like,
about that. They wouldn't even think about that though.
yeah,
So
that's what, because I pulled it up and in the first line, I made it
I
through the
didn't even know it said
wilderness.
that.
That's why I kept reading it, because I couldn't remember all of the
Yeah,
lyrics.
because that made me think of
Um,
Luke 4, like Jesus in
yeah.
the wilderness, right? But then again, most people wouldn't even make the connection, and they would just see all the love lyrics or whatever. Eh, Well, was she saying she's in love with Lucifer, or she's saying love with a guy? I don't know. We don't know what she's saying here, right? And now you kind of wonder, looking back in the 80s, who knows, right?
All right, let's keep going here.
In Vanity Fair, she's mocking Jesus, she's mocking Mary, and she's mocking dead babies. She's going after everything that is sacred to whom? To Christians, and in particular to Catholics.
Yep.
Madonna, you need to repent before it's too late. You cannot die and stand before Jesus Christ and say, yeah, but my music united people. You are
Towards the devil.
uniting people in rebellion against the truth, against the
Right.
way that God gave us, against eternal life that Christ came to give us. You're not cool. You're not young. You're not sexy. And honestly, you've been doing these kind of tricks, your whole life. It's kind of old now. If your music's good, which it's not, stand on your music. Why has it always got to be this diabolical? I know there's so many images I could put on the screen right now of her over the years. I'm just focusing on the latest nonsense. If your music's good and you're really talented, why does it have to be promoted with shock and awe?
Yeah.
You're washed up, Madonna. Your days will come to an end. You were big in the 80s. We're now in the 2020s. It's time to put.
There's in the for years and years I've had a church gig, and what I mean by that is I've been a minister of music or musical director, or creative director or whatever at a church, and for the last couple months I haven't, and which is a good thing, in that it means that I can actually go to my church, right? And one of the things in the liturgy, I'm Orthodox. There's a line in the liturgy. I don't remember where it is, but it says, "Don't put your trust in sons of men. On the day that they perish, or on the day that they die, their vision, their whatever, it perishes. What it is that they had planned, all their plans perish when they die." So, point being is that and I know with art, we think of art as being something that lives on. But regardless, the plans of the artist, they're no more. There's only one. There is only one that will continue to have plans that are valid, and that's God. All men, all women, all mankind, we're limited. As soon as we die, on that very day, our plans perish. So it doesn't matter what the rest of it doesn't matter what that is. And so these sort of last ditch struggles and things to try to still be relevant at the end, it's still going to be all for naught, especially if what it is that you lived your life for was not what was right. And what is that poem? Let's see here. I think I can. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, here it is. Okay. Yeah. So the only one life twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last. Only one life twill soon be past. Only what's done for Christ will last.
Yeah, her artistry will end anyways, because like once everything's done and finished, which we're, like I said, we're probably at the very end very soon anyways. All the stuff she did will be gone. When there's a new heaven, new earth, it's only going to be good stuff, obviously. So all the stuff she did was for naught. Even her art that's supposed to live on won't live on. You know what I mean? It'll be gone too.
All right, we just a little bit more.
Put some clothes on and go to church and go to confession, start praying your rosaries, and ask Jesus Christ, forgive me for what I have done. And he will forgive you. He'll totally transform you. But you're coming to the end of your life. What are you going to do? You're going to get on stage and shake it and commit sacrilege till you're 85? Ain't nobody want to see that, Madonna. Nobody wants to see that. It's disgusting. All right, we're going to pray a Hail Mary for Madonna, to the real Madonna, the Blessed Virgin Mary. Oremus nomine.
All right. So anyhow, yeah, that's that. You have anything else you want to share?
No, man, that's it. That's all the stuff I got.
This is oh my goodness, man.
Yeah, our
Some
world's
evil
gone
stuff.
crazy, man.
Oh, there's some this is some evil stuff, man.
I mean, it was kind of messed up. The music was messed up in the 80s, even sometimes some of the music was, but it was a lot different in the 80s compared to now. There's a lot, more structure and more. It just seems like the whole world's falling apart now, to me.
Yeah. It's all funky now. Anyhow, it's good to see you again, man. And we'll be back. Let's see here. We'll be back next week with another episode. We'll be back to our regular day on Thursday, 10 p.m. Next week for another Two Dads React. Thanks for coming through, everybody. And super thanks for the replay gang. And we're going to keep it happening. That's our time. Peace out.
All right.